feeling anxious, I'm feeling nervous, I'm feeling scared, and just waking up every day hoping that I don't get that phone call from the doctor's office saying that your cycle is canceled.
The uncertainty was really the worst. Anxiety, panic, desperation, anger, and you had nowhere to aim it. Usually I aim it into treatments. Couldn't do it.
Not only are we dealing with infertility, we're dealing with a pandemic. The doctor's office didn't know what's going on, so we were just left in limbo.
In the United States, over 100,000 people seek IVF care every year.
The pandemic has been devastating to my patients. The first guideline basically said that all fertility treatment should stop. That even included taking fertility pills, inseminations, and it was really hard, especially for me as a fertility doctor, to do that because I'd never been told in my entire life that I couldn't help people. What was confusing about that was that the American College of OBGYN and the CDC never came out and said that women should stop getting pregnant. But I understand what they were coming from. We didn't know what was going on. And the logic was we might need resources for people who are really sick with COVID, and those resources might come from fertility clinics.
I'm Anna Wayne, I'm 36 years old.
I'm Jeremy, and I am 35 years old.
We've been trying to have a baby now for 7.5 years. When the pandemic hit, we were in the middle of an IVF retrieval cycle. So we were going through the injections, doctor's appointments.
It's a little blood.
We were like halfway into the meds, which are expensive in itself.
5,000 to 10,000.
And then everything started shutting down. And that's when we got the waiver from our doctor that says, hey, if we shut down because of COVID, then, this is our heads up, but this is also releasing liability. So that was a shocker, right? That was
right.
To get that. I was like, whoa, we're halfway through and we've used half of the meds. What do we do? Do we call it quits now, or do we try to see if we can make this and see it through?
It was giving me anxiety every day, thinking that I have to go through all these injections and medicine and everything that I'm going through with the chance of it being canceled any minute. It felt pretty unfair. It felt really scary because of the unknowns.
We did it.
We did it.
I'm Aimee Eyvazzadeh. I am 43. I'm 43 and a half, if you want to be specific. And I have completed 6 IVF cycles. So I have a condition called Asherman syndrome, which is scarring in the uterus. I have been treated twice by a physician. My last treatment was in January. My scars usually come back in 3 to 6 months. So it's very important to get an embryo in immediately. In March, COVID really picked up and I was having the best cycle of my life. We got, I think, 5 eggs retrieved, and out of all that, we got 1 embryo. That cycle, we were planning on doing a fresh transfer, but because of the guidelines, pretty much halting any new treatments, we froze it. When we went to thaw it in May, it didn't make it. So would that embryo have made it and had a chance? I don't know, but we lost an embryo and my scars are back. So we decided to immediately get back in and do a retrieval. We were praying that 2 months didn't really mean that much, but when we went to get the eggs and fertilize them, not a single one fertilized normally. So saying that 2 months doesn't make a huge difference. Could it have been bad luck? Maybe. Could it have been that those, 2 to 3 months that we weren't able to do retrievals was the last of my fertility? Possibly. So it was a huge deal for me.
My name is Laura. I am recently 30 years old. We started trying when we got married in 2017. We began to see that nothing was happening. We had been going to a fertility doctor trying to find out what was going on, getting more testing done, weighed our options of what we were going to do next. So we decided to look to Colombia. I was actually born there. We weighed the cost. It was about 1/3 of the price that it was going to be here, including all the medications, everything. So we decided to go to Colombia and try. We were so excited, ready to go. I had taken off the dates from work. I had tickets booked and everything. We were staying with family. Everything was perfect. It was April 19th that we were supposed to leave and had started canceling flights. I'm so sorry. It was really hard. We were ready to go. So we were looking at the news and we were checking, like, hey, what's going on? What's happening? I had been on the doctor's office. I probably called them or texted them like 100 times, like, hey, what's happening? Like, what can you tell me? I'm not there. And around June, Colombia made the decision that they were not letting any international flights in until September 1st. It was devastating. Me and my husband sat down and we said, what are we gonna do next?
This place looks good. They have good success rates. They're affordable.
And we found a fertility clinic in New York. We did a consult with them and realized the pricing was pretty much around the same. We're just waiting to get cleared to be able to start retrievals with them.
Here we have all our fertility medication. They are ready to go as soon as we get the call that we're going to be able to start.
Hello, how are you? Nice to see you. I'm concerned that there will be a surge and that will shut down fertility clinics once again. I'm telling my patients, whatever you're gonna do, let's do it right now. So I'm encouraging people to freeze eggs, freeze sperm, freeze embryos if that's something that they wanna do.
As to whether a second wave, I think it will come, and will it shut everything back down again? Gosh, I hope not. I don't know if we'll be out of time by that time. So it's a lot of stress and a lot of uncertainty, which I don't do well with.
The idea of the second wave coming is definitely scary. That means we really don't know what's going to happen with our future with trying to have a baby.
Now I'm switched from Colombian news to news about New York. We heard the governor of New York stated that he's going to make people from Florida quarantine.
We're announcing today a joint travel advisory. People coming in from states that have a high infection rate must quarantine for 14 days.
So that's another fear that I have in the back of my mind, but that's another expenditure that we didn't plan on, of finding somewhere to stay for 15 days while we wait for that quarantine period to be over, meaning like we would have to leave in the next few weeks, and now we have to figure out what's our next step.
We all have what I call this new normal. The new normal means wearing masks, not seeing patients in person, limiting the number of treatments. I think that not having partners is like the one thing that's really sad for me to tell patients. Before the instructions were he's welcome or she's welcome to come with you. And now they have to wait in the car.
Since Jeremy can't come with me anymore, it's just me by myself.
I had a patient, it was really cute, adorable yesterday. She brought a pillow in with her to the embryo transfer, and it had her husband's shirt on it. And she was hugging it the whole time. And she's like, it was just heartbreaking for me.
The fact that I had to do it alone, I felt even more terrified. The idea of having your spouse next to you, holding your hand, rubbing your back, telling you it's gonna be okay, makes such a big difference in this process. And because I didn't have that anymore, it was terrifying. I felt so alone going through it.
The retrieval was hard, waking up alone. It would have been really nice to have somebody's hand to hold. And then it just felt very anticlimactic to walk out and get back in your car and drive home, before my husband and I would go have like a celebratory lunch and be hopeful and talk about all the possibilities.
So I just want to show you the cute little polyps. I actually am worried that will never be back to normal, and that's really heartbreaking for me. It's heartbreaking for me because I like to see people in person, and it's just hard to communicate and really bond with people over a video call, and certainly I try. As long as there's a mask requirement, I don't think that we're going to be back to what was old normal. There's this misunderstanding that this vaccine that's supposedly coming is going to be the superhero, and I predict that it's not going to be the superhero that everyone wants it to be. I mean, look at the influenza vaccine. I see patients delaying childbearing and delaying pregnancy, and they're saying things like, well, I don't want to try getting pregnant until there's a vaccine. And I'm not sure that that's the smartest thing to do.
I think after being on this journey for so long, we kind of learn to adapt. We're used to hearing bad news, we're used to changes and failures, and to remain positive through it all has definitely been the reason why we're so strong as a couple, and just to have faith that it's gonna work out.
Keeping us mentally sane at this point is staying positive and saying, okay, like, this will happen when it's supposed to happen. We've been through so many hurdles at this point, or like, if we don't get a baby out of this, like, there's something going on.
I keep hearing about all the coronavirus babies that are coming, and I think it's going to be really hard in, what is it now, 8 months, when I think there will be a baby boom. I could be wrong. It will be very hard for the women in the infertility world to watch that and know that we didn't even have a chance. So